Please welcome Stripe President of Technology and Business, Will Gabrick.
Good morning and welcome to Stripe Tour. So we've got a great day planned, and we'll start by sharing what's new with Stripe and giving you a sneak peek at what's coming next. So you may know that our mission is to grow the GDP of the internet. And that may sound a bit abstract, but what it really means is that we want to help all of you grow your businesses, to help you take advantage of all the opportunities that global commerce on the internet affords. And today, with the advent of AI and stablecoins, commerce on the internet is changing faster than it has in a generation. And we are urgently focused on helping you channel all these new opportunities to fuel your growth. Now, on the note of growth, in aggregate last year, businesses on Stripe had an extraordinary year. In 2024, revenues from businesses built on Stripe grew 7 times faster than the combined revenues of the S&P 500. So Stripe is empirically the home to the world's fastest growing companies. In total, businesses built on Stripe processed just over $1.4 trillion. And this works out to about 1.3% of global GDP. And here in the US, there are over 2 million businesses actively using Stripe. And in fact, over 350,000 of which are right here in New York City. Now, it can be hard to reason about a number like 2 million, so I'll just add that that's roughly 6% of all US businesses. And it's an exceptional 6%. It includes half of the Fortune 100, 80% of the Forbes Cloud 100, and 78% of the Forbes AI 50, which is in fact all of the AI 50 that accept payments online. And for all of these businesses, and every one of you here in this room, we want Stripe to be both the fastest improving infrastructure and the most reliable infrastructure that you build on. Now, a cool stat from last year, we deployed 1,145 pull requests per day on average. So we're shipping improvements to Stripe almost literally every single minute. And while we're doing this, we maintained 99.99986% uptime across our critical APIs. And that amounts to about 44 seconds of unavailability across our critical APIs throughout the whole year. So we're deploying every minute, but less than a minute of downtime in the whole year. Now, I mentioned that the internet economy is changing, so let's get specific about that. And I'm talking, of course, about the twin revolutions in money and intelligence. Crypto and especially stablecoins on the one hand, and AI on the other. Stablecoins are reaching enormous scale. The total value of stablecoins in circulation has now surpassed 10% of the total value of paper dollars. And that's up from just 5% 2 years ago. And they are a powerful lever for growth and efficiency, especially for businesses with a global footprint. AI is rapidly giving rise to new modes of commerce on the internet. Like it or not, agents will soon be swarming all of our sites. In fact, they already are. They're taking actions on behalf of shoppers, developers, researchers, operators, and really everyone. So this means new channels for growth and also the need for new economic infrastructure native to the AI era, and new tools to help us understand and optimize how AI is affecting your businesses. In fact, we got overexcited and shared some news on this front yesterday. We announced that we've teamed up with OpenAI to enable commerce directly within ChatGPT. So let's try it out. All right, so here we are in ChatGPT, and I'll do this with voice so I don't mistype. So Halloween is coming up in a few weeks, and I want to buy my daughter a Halloween costume. She's 3, she loves the color purple, and I don't want it to be just some run-of-the-mill costume. I want it to be handcrafted and special. My budget is $80. All right, so model is thinking. Let's see what it's got. Okay, fun project. Okay, but I want to buy something. Here we go. All right, so a couple options from Etsy here. I like this dragon. It's purple. Okay. So I like these, but I really want to buy something that I know she'll love. She loves owls. Do you have any purple owl costumes I can buy? Purple owl costumes are a thing. So this is helpful feedback, but I'd like to buy a purple owl costume. Do you have any? All right, here we go. Oh, that one is special. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right, I like this one from Etsy. It's perfect. And here you can see an option to buy right there on the page without leaving ChatGPT. She is 3, so let's try buying it. Pay Etsy. Okay, and so now ChatGPT is not actually processing the transaction. It's calling out to Stripe to create a programmable token. And you notice here that my payment credentials are already here because I pay for ChatGPT Pro with Link, so I didn't have to enter anything. In the background, ChatGPT is sending that token to Etsy. It uses to process the transaction. There we are. We finished without ever leaving ChatGPT. So it's early days, but I'm pretty bullish on that mode of interaction. So across crypto, stablecoins, and AI, Stripe's role is to pull frontier technology out of the experimental phase and put it right in your hands to use right away. So today, we're going to share a lot of new products and features we're launching in payments, revenue, Connect, and money management. And we'll close by taking a look at massive opportunities that lie ahead in crypto and stablecoins. Now, as we share what we've been cooking up, a quick note on architecture. Stripe is building programmable financial services designed to be seamlessly interoperable with each other, but also modular. We want Stripe to be a platform that coheres with craft and beauty across our dozens of products. And at the same time, we are devoutly committed to supporting all of you with your existing setups. Many of you are betting on the entire Stripe stack, using Stripe for payments, billing, fraud, tax, global money movement, and a whole lot more. And you're finding that it's really powerful and elegant to have everything running on a unified modern infrastructure. But others are using Stripe alongside a host of other providers. We want that to be an outstanding experience, too. Either way, we are relentlessly determined to helping you accelerate your growth. And so in that light, here's Kevin to share what's new in payments.
Thanks, Will, and good morning, everyone. And yes, let's just get started right into payments. Now, we hear from all of you that you are facing an unprecedented pace of change. Apple no longer requires in-app iOS payments. What do you do? Consumers are buying through ChatGPT. How do you meet them there? Staying ahead is hard, but capitalizing on all of it is even harder. Today, we're going to share how we're helping you in 3 key areas. The first, enhancing your checkout for each customer, boosting conversion across devices and markets. The second, using AI to fight fraud. And the third, helping to get ready for a new buyer, AI agents. Let's get started with your customers. And let's pick one in, say, Japan, that's just landed on your checkout page. And initially, they're happy because with Stripe, you've adapted your checkout form to feel natively Japanese from the language to the address format. But there's a big problem. The price is still in US dollars. Your customer doesn't know how much your product costs, and your checkout can't offer payment methods only available in the yen. And so the whole sale falls apart. The customer's gone. This happens millions of times a day across the internet, and it crushes your conversion. Your customer might think that displaying prices in their local currency is just table stakes, but you all know how complex it is to do. You've got to factor in constantly fluctuating foreign exchange rates, manage your currency exposure, and build out logic to offer payment methods that can be used with the given currency. This isn't about building it once. It means you need a whole team constantly working on it. Stripe's optimized checkout suite is tailor-made for exactly this kind of challenge. We can solve things like price localization for you. And we call this feature adaptive pricing. You can turn it on in a click, pay no fees whatsoever. Your price is localized globally, and Stripe handles all the complexity on the back end. And it's astonishingly lucrative. Users of adaptive pricing see a 17.8% average uplift in cross-border revenue. And today, we are making this feature available through Stripe Connect, so platform businesses can pass it on to their customers. Adaptive pricing is one of hundreds of optimizations that we're constantly building into the optimized checkout suite, which brings together checkout surfaces, both hosted and embeddable, with over 100 payment methods. Leading brands like Atlassian, Ford, Figma, and URBN build their checkouts with our optimized checkout suite because they get access to hundreds of Stripe engineers, boosting their conversion rates daily, with global optimizations that even the most sophisticated enterprises don't have the resources to build in-house. But I haven't yet told you about perhaps the most powerful part of the optimized checkout suite. That is Link. Every time a customer lands on your checkout page, you are in a race with their impatience. And we built Link to ensure that you win that race. It's a consumer wallet for faster checkouts, and it has over 200 million users around the world. Your customers save their payment details to Link and check out in a click across all of your sites. And for many of you, it's become the payment method your customers prefer most. This is especially true in the AI space. 58% of Lovable's volume on Stripe, for example, runs through Link. And we all know your customers are gravitating to new ways to pay, particularly with buy now, pay later methods. And BNPLs themselves can boost conversion, but for new users trying a BNPL for the first time, having to sign up on the spot at checkout can also kill conversion. So, over the last year, we started working with Klarna to build the most frictionless BNPL experience on the internet with Link. And what's magical about this is customers get their details pre-filled, so even first-time Klarna users can now check out in seconds. True to form, adding Link in your checkout takes just a click. In online payments and checkouts, every second can eat into conversion rates. But in apps, conversion is humming along. Apple's in-app payments convert at incredibly high rates, sometimes 2 to 3 times that of mobile web checkouts. And so mobile business is booming as a result. App Store monetization is projected to hit $270 billion next year. But this commercial opportunity comes at a price, because Apple's fees for in-app payments have historically been up to 30%. And for the first time this year, you have a choice. You can now route your app users to your website for payments without paying Apple fees. But should you? It's actually not an easy choice because, let's be clear, in exchange for those fees, Apple has been doing a lot of heavy lifting for you. Acting as merchant of record, they've been managing global payments, taxes, fraud, disputes, and even customer support. All of the unglamorous but really critical stuff. And many of you might prefer to be your own merchant of record, but for some of you, processing payments off of Amazon will require a new solution. And we're building that new solution. With Stripe Managed Payments, Stripe will serve as your merchant of record to handle payments, global tax, fraud, and dispute complexity. So if you're moving off of Apple as your merchant of record, you'll now be able to use Stripe instead. And that brings us to your next big challenge. How do you maintain conversion when the payment flow takes your customer out of your app? There just hasn't been a high converting way to do that that isn't native to the app. So you've had to take a massive hit to conversion in order to get that lower cost. Well, we've been working to match the conversion of in-app payments. And here's Roshan to show us how app-to-web payments should work.
All right, let's take a look. So first, I want to show you just how easy it was to build this app. Now, when we first made this app, we added a single line of code. You can see it right here. We set Manage Payments to true when creating the checkout session. That one change, yes, just adding that one parameter, turns on Stripe Managed Payments. With Managed Payments, Stripe replicates all of the heavy lifting that Apple used to do for you. So now, let's see what it looks like for my customer. Here in the Aura app, which is a fictitious streaming app that we built for this demo. Now, this is running on a real iPhone, and it's a native iOS app. You can see they offer a bunch of different plans. Let's buy the premium plan. So normally, we'd see an in-app payment page, but here, I'm taken to a Stripe checkout page. It's fast, localized, customizable with your branding, supports promo codes, and more. Let's go ahead and check out. I'll pay with my saved card. Don't blink. The transaction will complete. And you'll notice that I'm brought back into Aura's native iOS app. So this feels similar to Apple's in-app payments, only much, much cheaper. And over in the Stripe dashboard, let me refresh here to take a look at our latest transaction. We'll see that for the transaction that just came in, Stripe has processed the payment, applied taxes, run fraud checks, and logged dispute coverage, everything you previously got. But here's the difference. You have the choice. Stripe can act as your merchant of record, or you can do it yourself and still give customers that same checkout experience. Back to you, Kevin.
Thanks, Roshan. This completely changes the economics of selling in apps. Superwall, a paywall provider, saw a 2x increase in trial conversion rates and saved up to 90% on fees by switching to Stripe. 90%. We've also just launched this new flow with Voodoo, Replit, and now even Hinge. So that's how you can capture cost savings while maintaining conversion by bringing together our new app-to-web flow with Stripe Managed Payments. And it's important to note, Stripe Managed Payments is not just for app payments. It's also extremely useful for global expansion, helping you handle taxes in Denmark, manage disputes in Hong Kong, and keep on the right side of commerce regulations in Singapore. It gives you everything you need to launch and enter new markets, even if you don't have a local entity. Managed payments is great for those of you who don't want to think about payments at all. But I know a lot of you are payments nerds like us, who want to lean in with exacting control. And you folks are likely using multiple processors and optimizing among them. That's why we fundamentally architect our products to be processor agnostic, including our optimized checkout suite, because your focus is on growing your business, not locking you into Stripe for payments processing. And the further we've gone down this path, the more we've learned about the opportunity to help you manage your multi-processor setups. And that's why earlier this year we launched Stripe Orchestration. It's used by businesses like Twilio to manage and optimize their payment setup across multiple processors right inside Stripe. And today, it's getting even more powerful. We're adding the ability to instantly retry transactions. So if a transaction fails on one processor, you can instantly process it on another. So those are good examples of how we're helping you drive conversion and performance. And now, to share how we're better applying AI to protect you from fraud, here's Stripe's head of AI, Emily.
Thanks, Kevin. Over the last few years, fraudsters have industrialized, with armies of bots all working tirelessly to steal from your business. So the fight back demands a proportional response. Earlier this year, we announced the world's first payments foundation model. Trained on tens of billions of transactions, it surfaces subtle signals that only a very large model can catch. And that's the scale we're now bringing to bear on fighting fraud. Take card testing attacks, which have surged in recent years. We successfully cut them by 80% for businesses on Stripe. But card testing remained a thorn for some of our largest customers, whose massive volumes card testers loved to hide out in, until we deployed the Payments Foundation model. Overnight, our detection rate for attacks on large users jumped from 59% to 97%. This is a step change in performance. With the Payments Foundation model, we can now deploy our vast data to its fullest. Transaction fraud is just one piece of the puzzle. Nearly half of businesses say their biggest fraud challenge is friendly fraud, like policy, refund, free trial abuse. You tell us this is some of the most expensive fraud you face, and also the hardest to spot. The pains here are particularly acute for businesses with high marginal costs, like retailers and increasingly AI companies. Take free trial abuse. By stringing together free trials, bad actors rack up high compute costs without paying a dime. In fact, this kind of abuse has gotten so costly for AI businesses that many of them have opted out of free trials altogether, protecting their business, sure, but in doing so, cutting off meaningful growth. So today, we're excited to share that we're expanding Radar, our fraud prevention product, to cover your full funnel, starting with free trial abuse. We're also expanding Radar to cover more transactions. With Radar, you can now get risk scores on transactions processed off Stripe. DoorDash turned it on and saw a 10% reduction in chargeback costs. And we've taken Radar beyond cards. It's already live for ACH, SEPA, and Klarna, with 7 more payment methods coming by the end of the year. Today, we're also making Radar more responsive to the specifics of your business and the fraud you're facing. If you're a business with high marginal costs, so a lower risk tolerance, you can now customize your risk preferences and let our AI continuously optimize to deliver those results. We're also introducing dynamic risk thresholds. So when a new fraud attack occurs, Radar adapts instantly, keeping good revenue flowing in normal times and then aggressively blocking bad revenue during active attacks without you lifting a finger. And we've launched adaptive soft interventions, like Adaptive 3DS, which applies authentication selectively instead of blocking outright. US users saw a 30% average drop in fraud with Adaptive 3DS, all with a single click in the dashboard. These are just some of the new features we've added to Radar, applying AI and the scale of the Stripe network to protect your business from fast emerging fraud vectors. Now, back to Kevin to tell you about a whole new category of customer, AI agents.
Thanks, Emily. Now, I've already talked plenty about the investments that we're all making together in crafting great experiences for your customers. But that relationship between you and your customers is at risk of being intermediated. Your customers' online behavior is changing rapidly. They're running more of their lives through AI tools like ChatGPT. They're instructing AI agents to act on their behalf across the internet, and they expect your business to meet them where they are. So whether you're selling consumer goods or B2B SaaS, you need to make your site compatible with agentic transactions like the one Will showed us earlier, where your customer initiates a purchase in an AI interface, and then an AI agent relays to your businesses to complete the purchase. But participating in agentic commerce comes with all kinds of new challenges for businesses. How will you distinguish between well-meaning agents and malicious bots? How will you ensure your brand and products are showing up to customers the way you want them to? And how will you avoid the perpetual overhead of custom integrations with a growing number of AI agents? We've been working with OpenAI to develop new primitives to make it as seamless as possible for you to make AI agents your fastest growing distribution channel. It's early days, but we're excited to share some of the first steps we're taking here and preview some of our roadmap. Yesterday, we announced the Agentic Commerce Protocol, an open standard for agentic checkouts that we co-developed with OpenAI. This protocol gives you a single way to sell through any compatible AI platform, surfacing your products, pricing, and checkout flows in a format agents can use. As you saw earlier, ChatGPT users can now make purchases directly through the app. Behind the scenes, Stripe powers these transactions using shared payment tokens, our new payment primitive for AI-led commerce. AI platforms can use these tokens to securely package your customers' payment credentials and associated risk signals and pass them to you. Each tokenized transaction can be scored in real time by Stripe Radar, works with more than 125 payment methods, and can be processed both on or off Stripe. But we're not stopping there. As we build out the ACP spec, first and foremost, we're keeping your ability to control your brand and product distribution front and center. This is just the beginning. To ensure our solutions work against real-world complexity, we're working with more AI platforms like Microsoft Copilot and Perplexity, e-commerce platforms like Salesforce and Squarespace, and to help businesses of any size launch in this new channel as fast as possible, we're partnering with integration partners like PwC, Slalom, and many, many more. And we invite all of you to join us in building this new ecosystem together. That's it for payments. You've heard how we can help you optimize conversion with Link and the optimized checkout suite, save on in-app payment costs, manage multiple processors with Stripe orchestration, protect your business from new fraud vectors, and prepare for agent buyers. Now, the electricity in this room has been building up so much that I'm just going to have a quick lightning round of things that we didn't even have time for. We just launched our latest Stripe-designed smart reader. Authorization Boost now also cuts your costs by up to 2.8%. Starting next week, you can accept recurring stablecoin payments. And we even gave you your own AI assistant in the Stripe dashboard. And there's even more you can read about in our blog post this morning. All of this is to help you grow by adapting to today's fast-changing payments and commerce landscape. And next, I'm excited to bring together the companies behind yesterday's big news. So to talk about conducting commerce inside ChatGPT, please welcome Michelle Fraden, Head of Product, ChatGPT from OpenAI, Ritesh Ramchandani, VP of Business Development at Etsy, and Rohit Mishra, Director of Payments at Shopify. Along with Will, back to the stage.
So welcome, guys. Thank you for being here,
Thank you for having us.
of course. And Michelle, congrats. Big news yesterday. Michelle is the mastermind behind all the ChatGPT commerce stuff.
Teamwork with
Teamwork,
everyone
yeah,
here.
Yeah. So you all are always very busy over at OpenAI. And I know from a lot of our partnership, it was more than a little bit of work on the ChatGPT side to stand up commerce. What's the vision? Like, what's the end goal here?
Great question. Thank you for having me, Will, and to Ritesh and Rohit. The core vision we have for ChatGPT is being an AI super assistant that does more than give you information. So it's also helping you get things done in your world. And one of the things that we all do a lot is buy things, whether it's the weekly restock or your daughter's Halloween costume, or I have to think about how to get Christmas and Hanukkah presents for 20 people every December. So that's a huge part of our life. And what we wanted to do is better serve all the traffic and interest that we get in ChatGPT in commercial queries. So we see a lot of users constantly coming to us and asking questions, asking for how they can find different ideas or products. And we wanted to make it very easy for merchants and developers to convert those conversations into checkouts. So that's our fundamental goal, is making it easier for users to find what they need, and for merchants and developers to be able to connect with those customers in a way that uses all their existing systems and allows them to keep the customer relationship that they worked so hard for and want to continue.
Well, Ritesh, you should know from our practice, our rehearsals, that owl costumes are probably trending on Etsy right now.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
Take it.
But Etsy is home to so many unique and creative sellers, and I imagine like search and discovery is something that's top of mind for you as you're building your products. What does it mean to your sellers to sort of empower AI agents to find products and buy them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, let me take a step back and say, I think the bigger picture that we're working towards is that in an AI-driven world, the creativity of our sellers isn't lost. It's actually given a spotlight more often for more buyers in more moments of life that matter. And at Etsy, we're a global marketplace that brings together 5 million creative entrepreneurs, mostly women and single businesses of one, and connects them with 90 million buyers globally who are looking for something special. And our 5 million sellers, they rely on us to shine a spotlight on their one-of-a-kind inventory. And at Etsy, we have a catalog of over 120 million items for sale. And it's actually, our long-tail inventory is uniquely suited for Gen AI-driven discovery. Now, OpenAI and ChatGPT, not only have they normalized conversational search, but their models have brought together the ability to understand both item-level context and buyer-level context, so buyer preferences. So we think for Etsy, the depth and breadth of our inventory is well positioned to be relevant for commercial queries in this context and deliver a meaningful purchase that is special and personal to each user.
So Rohit, we've been working together and partnering for a long time, and Shopify is the mission to create better commerce experiences for everyone. You have been leaning in here and very bullish from the day that Michelle hatched this idea. How do you see agentic commerce sort of improving experiences on Shopify? What are you hearing from your merchants?
Yeah, so first of all, like with Shopify, we see our main responsibility as making sure that our merchants are prepared to sell at every channel, every surface that comes up. And with the incredible work that the team at OpenAI has done over the last few years, it's clear that we already see so much referral traffic now and steadily increasing month over month. And so we were super excited when Michelle and team came up with the opportunity of how we can bring native commerce to OpenAI and ChatGPT. What we're hearing from merchants is they're really excited about the way we have built this together, because what our merchants really care about is that direct customer relationship, is about finding more visibility on new surfaces, which are less biased to just by the size of the merchant, as well as making sure that their downstream systems can just work as they have planned. And I think what we have together been able to build together with Stripe and OpenAI and Shopify here achieves those goals of giving our merchants increased visibility while making sure that their downstream systems, and whether they are a small business or a very large business, across the board, their systems can just work as expected.
You mentioned the merchant relationship there, and I know actually just from yesterday, from hearing from a lot of merchants and retailers, that this is very top of mind. How are you all thinking about how this changes the merchant relationship, deepens it? What's the effect?
Well, I have a perspective, but as representatives of the merchants, I feel you should speak first.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I think it's clear that ChatGPT is a new channel for discovery, and users, 700 million weekly active users, are going there every day for searches, and they happen to be commercial queries as well. And for us as a merchant here as Etsy, I think what's important to us, one, is that users feel that they can transact with trust, and I think the open protocol that OpenAI and Stripe delivers on that. But it's also important for buyers to understand that they're shopping from Etsy, so that those trust signals that you're buying from Etsy and you recognize who the sellers are, that pulls through in the experience, and that merchants can do what they do best, which is deliver a great buyer experience. If you have any questions about fulfillment or post-purchase, that responsibility belongs with us, and I think that what we've designed here accomplishes that.
Yeah, I agree with Ritesh's point of view. What's really important, one of the leading merchants that we have started with is Glossier. It's really important that when you are in that experience within ChatGPT, it's clear to you that you're buying from that original brand. And if you have any fulfillment issues and support issues, then you can directly speak to that brand. And from a merchant perspective, what's important to them is making sure that the way they have set up their catalog, the way they have set up their checkout, their shipping settings, their payment settings, those are fully respected in this new surface, while exposing them to a lot more buyers with a high intent in their favorite agentic app looking for product recommendations.
I think we've seen, exactly as Rohit and Ritesh said, a lot of questions from merchants. Some merchants and sellers are really excited and hopeful about AI, and there's also plenty of fear. And I think one of the biggest fears we hear about is worried about disintermediation. And what we've had a lot of conversations about as we develop this all in partnership and with a lot of feedback from Shopify teams, from their merchants, from Etsy and Etsy sellers, is that AI serves a really different purpose than a merchant's website. And it reminds us of early e-commerce, and I know, Will, that you know this very well from Stripe, but when the internet came along, everyone was worried that stores would go away. And we learned that was not true. Stores serve a really important purpose, and we want to buy things online. And I think we'll see the same with AI, where there's this fear, will it change websites? Will it change? It's not. They're very different purposes. If I want to go browse a lot of ideas that Etsy or a Shopify seller or Glossier has curated, I want to see the creative that they have. I want to discover new things that are being written about. I need to do that on the merchant site. But if I'm coming to ChatGPT saying, I have no idea where to begin, where do I start finding this costume or this item or this product that fits a perfect need? You want to be where your customers are. And so make that as easy as possible and connect them. And I think that's what has resonated with merchants in the way we design this, is it was a goal from day one to say, our goal is to connect and not disintermediate. How do we build this in a way that helps merchants get the sale and keep their customer?
Yeah, and I mean, so much of the value of LLMs is sort of bringing together, summarizing, synthesizing content. When you go to pages on retail sites, there's just so much there. Like, what if you want to see a summary of the reviews, things like that? So, we're really excited about the early experiences you all have created. It's very early days, wide open playing field. What do you all see as the biggest opportunities here? Like, if this becomes a powerful new modality of commerce, why will that be? and what are the challenges we have to overcome?
We have millions of merchants on Shopify, and if you ask all of them, what is their single most important thing holding back their businesses, is how do they find more demand, more discovery. And so I think what we have been working very closely with a team at OpenAI is figuring out how we can enrich in the experience within the ChatGPT app, how we can enrich in the catalog that we share, and how we can, over time, add more and more signals so that the rich storytelling that merchants today do on their brand websites, the right projection of that can also show up within the ChatGPT interface. We're really excited about this because as buyers spend more and more time and get more used to buying within these agentic surfaces, they will look for incrementally more signals aggregated there, and that's how do we achieve that while respecting the individuality of each brand on Shopify is a super exciting challenge, but something that we are very motivated to solve.
Yeah, I would just plus one to that. I mean, at Etsy, our mission is to keep commerce human. So we feel that we play an important role in preserving the humanity in e-commerce. And so I think what we need to do to optimize the experience moving forward in the discovery process is to really elevate our sellers, for Shopify, their merchants, but for their sellers and their stories, such that the agents and the models can understand the craftsmanship and artisanal value that our sellers put into their products, and so that every purchase doesn't feel transactional, it feels special.
I agree with both of those. I would say if it works, it's because it's useful to users and useful to merchants. It has to work for both. If it doesn't work for merchants, you don't have anything to sell, then you're not going to have any buyers, and vice versa. So we're really focused on making something that works for the entire ecosystem and solves the problems that both groups of people care about. But I'd also love to hear, well, you work with a lot of merchants. What's your take?
Well, look, I think you guys have all said it well. Like, if this works, I think it's driving additional demand while bringing in, the experience that merchants are trying to create for their consumers into models. Like, I think you guys have done such a good job of bringing all that context in and actually helping consumers, ChatGPT users, consume it more easily, as opposed to sort of slogging around every single page. So I think merchants have done an incredible job of creating websites. And I think there's going to be this sort of analog of websites for agents and the context that models can create within surfaces like ChatGPT, I think can create powerful experiences too. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much. Congratulations on the launch. We're grateful for the partnership and looking forward to making this great together.
Thank you so much. We could not have done this without Stripe or Etsy or Shopify, so thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All right, well, that's it for payments. And now next up to show you what we're up to in our revenue suite, here's Tanya.
Thanks, Will. The pace at which commercial models are changing is extraordinary. We just heard about agentic commerce, but there's a lot more afoot. Customers are demanding new ways to pay based on usage, outcomes, and more. And many of you are now embedding AI in your products, which has material and dynamic underlying inference costs. So adapting revenue and pricing fast is now a top priority for you, and therefore for us. In fact, in a recent Stripe study, 84% of you said that adapting revenue models quickly will be a key competitive advantage in the next 2 years. And 65% of you say that you don't think your current models will support what you need. You need a revenue system that moves at the pace of the market. And this is exactly why we built our revenue suite. It's designed to handle everything from invoicing and billing to tax compliance and financial reporting. Now, at the heart of our revenue suite is Stripe Billing, which was named a leader by both Gartner and Forrester. Over 300,000 businesses rely on it, including leading AI companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, and Midjourney, as well as large enterprises like Chubb Insurance, BMW, and Forbes. Last year, we launched usage-based billing, and we've been continuously improving it by working alongside some of the fastest-growing companies with the most complex monetization needs, from AI natives like Perplexity and Cursor to established SaaS companies launching new AI products like Figma and Intercom. One thing we've heard working with you is just how challenging it is to implement hybrid revenue models that combine both subscription and usage-based billing, where customers are allotted credits monthly, spend down those credits with product usage, and can top up as needed. You tell us a model like this is a beast to build and even harder to maintain. Well, I'm excited to share that today's Stripe billing is making it much easier to execute hybrid revenue models. Let's take a look, Roshan.
This is Laura, a fictional AI company. Let's look at how you can set up a premium plan like this one in the Stripe dashboard. This plan uses a recurring subscription to automatically give customers monthly credits. Behind the scenes, powering all of this, and this is new, is a rate card for usage. This rate card handles usage metering and credit burn down. A customer could use any combination of Laura's products, and everything rolls into one simple bill. Now, this makes things incredibly simple for the customer, but look at the complexity under the hood here. You can see that in this case, I've set custom prices for the mini output versus standard output models to account for the value provided and the underlying costs here. So no complex integration required, just set the prices, and you're done. As customers use the product, Laura reports usage to Stripe with our usage-based billing APIs. This gives them a real-time view of their revenue engine. I can see here the various meters that Laura has set up to track that usage. And if I take a look at one of these, the AI models, you can see that we have events streaming in real time. Usage credit given to each customer is being burned down in real time too. But here's where the real magic happens. I'm now looking at a customer who's used up all of their credits for the month. Rather than having that customer churn, I can top them up automatically $10 at a time. And you can see here that we've done that a few times for this customer already based on their usage. Now, this is the kind of real-time hybrid pricing model that used to take weeks. With Stripe, it took Lovable 2 engineers and less than 2 weeks from design all the way to launch. Back to you, Tanya.
Thanks, Roshan. So with Stripe billing, you can now set and update sophisticated hybrid pricing models right from the dashboard. Problem solved. Or is it? As you acutely know, your revenue model doesn't exist in a vacuum. AI products are subject to the strong gravitational pull of inference costs. And these costs can swing fast. Some fluctuate by 10 to 40% within just a few months. If inference costs drop 25% and you don't lower prices, you're not competitive. And if costs rise and you don't react, you're underwater. Right now, handling all of this is often done manually by tracking it all across multiple providers and models at once in spreadsheets, and it's really complicated. Many of you have asked us if we can find a better way. Well, today I'm excited to share with you how you can automate all of this with just a couple lines of code using our new API for token billing.
All right, we've heard from you that it's really tedious to manage a constantly changing world of model provider costs. Let me show you how you can extend the same capabilities from our demo just a minute ago, rate cards and usage-based billing, to do just that. So we're going to jump into the Stripe dashboard. This is quite new, but I wanted to give you a sneak peek of an experience that we're testing. Directly in the dashboard, I can create a new token billing plan. So we'll call this one AI meter and set a price for the service period. I can enter my own plan name, the price, and a markup on top of the underlying model cost margin. And this is really cool. We can even change the markup per model if we want. So in this case, I could say that I want a 20% markup on Gemini 2.5 Pro. Now we can give each customer credits, just like we saw before, and I'll toggle this on to include taxes in the prices. So under the hood, this creates a pricing plan and a rate card, just like you saw earlier. But let's see this in action. So I'm going to switch to my terminal window here. And here, you're looking at an API request to Stripe's LLM proxy endpoint that I'll go ahead and fire off. This request includes sort of instructions for the large language model here. So we're asking it, in this case, how many pizza vendors are in New York. And it looks like around 1,000 to 1,700 if, by its best guess, which is kind of cool. But you'll notice that this endpoint returns the LLM response from the model provider. But what's more is we're also keeping track of usage right here. Automatically, based on the tokens that were consumed, we're We're also automatically applying the correct price, and that's all done in one API request. So everything from here on out is just like before. As customers use your products, Stripe automatically burns down credits based on usage, and your customers get a single unified invoice. But now, when the underlying costs change, you don't have to do any additional work to keep your margins. With our integrations with OpenRouter, Cloudflare, and Vercel, and more on the way, you can also route through third-party LLM proxies, while Stripe automatically logs all of those usage events for you. Back to you, Tanya.
Thanks, Roshan. So with 2 lines of code, you get multi-LLM integration within usage-based billing so that you can protect and grow your margins. We're making this new API available in private preview today. So that's what's new with Stripe Billing. Now let's take a spin through some updates across the rest of our revenue suite. Stripe Tax is our solution for managing global tax compliance, and it covers the entire tax cycle from monitoring, registering, collecting, to filing, and it's used by startups like Linear and 11 Labs, and enterprises like Squarespace and FICO. So far, it's been available in 102 countries for businesses selling digital goods. And today, we're excited to announce that Tax will soon support physical goods in 102 countries, up from just 40. So with Stripe Tax, you can grow globally faster while simplifying compliance. And once you've expanded, the next question is, how do you keep optimizing your business performance? That's where our data products come in. Stripe creates and houses some of your most important business data. And Stripe Sigma allows you to derive actionable insights from this vast data. You can query with SQL or just ask in plain English with Sigma Assistant. Starting today, that includes usage-based revenue. Then you can easily visualize the results with custom charts. And with Stripe Data Pipeline, you can export Stripe data into the warehouse of your choice. We've heard from you that you want to pick and choose the data sets you can export along with our pre-built reports. Well, now you can. Together, these updates mean faster decisions, clearer insights, and a holistic view of your business. And now both products are available as a single subscription. So that's how our revenue suite enables you to manage your revenue cycle and grow faster. But before I wrap up, I want to share one more update. And this one's for the developers. AI isn't only changing how our products are monetized, it's also changing how you're all building products to begin with. Platforms like Replit and Vercel are fast becoming where development is done. But to integrate billing and payments, developers have had to step out of their flow, configuring accounts, wiring up test environments before you can start charging customers. Today, that changes. We're now enabling AI platforms, starting with Vercel and Replit, to embed Stripe sandboxes within their environments. Here you can see how you might set up a Stripe sandbox directly inside V0 and test a complete agent-built Stripe checkout, pulling forward the important parts of your building experience before you even need to sign up for Stripe. No context switching, just fast launches and faster revenue. So let's wrap up. You can now monetize AI products more easily and stay on top of changing model costs. Stay tax compliant and grow globally. Optimize your business performance with more accessible data. And build with Stripe inside AI tools. Next, to show you what we've been building for platforms and marketplaces, here's Neethika to talk about Connect.
When people think about how to drive broad-based economic growth in the US and beyond, there's no question about what should be at the top of their list. It's, of course, vertical SaaS. 60% of small businesses in America now run on a vertical SaaS platform. Thousands of daycares run on Brightwheel. Over 150,000 legal practices are on Clio. And even large brands like New York's own Kits depend on a SaaS platform, Shopify, to run their business. Today, more than 10 million businesses worldwide use 15,000 platforms built on Stripe Connect. And the platforms on Connect are scaling too. 95 of them now annually process over $1 billion each. Now, at this point, we might be wondering, why isn't everyone getting into vertical SaaS? Why are our kids so set on being influencers or pro gamers when they could be founding platform businesses? Well, the truth is, running a platform at scale may be rewarding, but it's also brutally hard. The entire model is predicated on absorbing tremendous amount of complexity and abstracting it away from your users. Now, Stripe is itself the platform on which platforms are built, and we want to do everything we can to make things even a little easier for you. So today, I want to share how we are addressing 3 of your top requests. First, smarter analytics that identify blind spots and help you grow. Second, better tools to manage risk at scale. And third, new levers to monetize your business. So let's start with analytics. You've told us you need better visibility into how your platform is performing, how your users are doing, and tools to take action on the spot. So this year, we launched a new set of business metrics and tools powered by AI and designed just for platforms. Roshan, give us a tour.
So right away, I can see in my dashboard the top-line metrics that matter most to my platform. My payments volume, revenue here, margin, and take rate. But the aggregates are only so useful. I want to know what I need to pay attention to right now. For example, among my thousands of users, I can tell that, well, maybe this one seems to be having some issues here. I can also dig deeper. If I click on the margin graph, I can see exactly what products are driving my margin. Or I can slice it by payment method or country. Now, I recently enabled instant payouts on my accounts, and it looks like my users have been really excited to adopt it. This growth looks really great, too. But it looks like Stripe has also noticed this. So let's take a look at that. 9% of my accounts are already using instant payouts, but Stripe's model of similar businesses is telling me that 30% are likely to find instant payouts valuable and adopt it. I can even get a complete list of those users if I want. Now, this new platform dashboard also proactively surfaces issues that need my attention. I can see top risk and compliance requirements, a summary of support cases, and even CSAT. If I want to dive deeper, I can click in on any one of these, and in the case of support, email Stripe on behalf of my customers about any individual issue.
Thanks, Roshan. Those are just some of the ways our new platform analytics can help you work smarter. For example, that time, a beauty and wellness platform was able to adopt the dashboard and spot underpriced BNPL transactions that were hurting their margins and fix it in seconds. So that's platform analytics. Now let's turn to risk. Earlier you heard from Emily about emerging types of fraud. Platforms face a whole category of risk that many businesses never have to think about: merchant risk. This includes everything from the risk of onboarding scammy businesses to the risk that a good business might go under. We've been working at this for a long time at Stripe, and we see many of our platforms getting caught in the same dichotomy. Take onboarding. You can make it really onerous and miss out on some good actors, or open the floodgates to all good and bad actors. This is an undesirable set of trade-offs. But with Stripe's scale and data, you can precisely set and monitor the right risk thresholds. So we now offer managed risk, where we will handle risk on your behalf. We optimize for the right balance for you, and you're no longer liable for transaction losses or merchant fraud. Over the past 5 years, platforms like RestNexus, FloraNext, and Salesforce have saved more than $300 million in losses with Stripe managed risk. Now, alternatively, if you want to stay closer to risk decisions, this year we launched Radar for Platforms. For platforms, Radar now flags suspicious businesses caught on the Stripe network and lets you block them from transacting. This year alone, platforms like FreshBooks, MindBody, and GlowFox use Radar to block over 700,000 bad actors. Now, blocking bad actors programmatically is extremely powerful, but you know your users best, and sometimes you need to be able to personalize risk thresholds based on that context. That's why today, I'm excited to announce Stripe Verified for Platforms. It gives trusted platforms a whole new range of controls. Roshan, show us.
So you might have missed this in the previous demo, but this platform has a new badge that indicates it's verified, giving me more control over how I handle risk for my users. Say a business is overdue to submit additional KYC information or hasn't provided required information about the products that they sell. I can see all of my accounts that might need some additional time here in one place in the dashboard. Verified platforms can now extend the due date right from the dashboard because you know your customers best. In this case, I know that Rhythm Yoga Studio here might need a little more time. So I'm going to give them another week. I'll just check these boxes, hit continue, click extend, and that's it. No more compliance tasks disrupting a legitimate customer when they're just particularly busy.
So that's just one example of how you can directly edit our risk systems. With Verified, we're also able to better customize risk for platforms with similar profiles. For example, we can offer platforms for property managers higher ACH limits because we know that's what landlords use to collect rent. You can sign up for the waitlist for Stripe Verified today and join platforms like Rover and Rent Ready who are already benefiting from it. Now let's turn to the third area, helping you grow your revenue. We want to provide you with maximum flexibility in designing your payments business. Many of you opt for revenue sharing. You offload payments to Stripe, and we help you handle the pricing and costs. Now, if you want full control, you can instead set your own custom pricing on top of Stripe's buy rate. Now, most of you are serving SMB users for whom blended pricing is almost always the best option. But for those of you serving enterprise users, you're finding that these larger companies want transparency into their network costs and levers to reduce them. That's why today, I'm excited to announce one of your most requested features, IC Plus pricing for platforms. With just a few lines of code, you can now pass network costs through to your users and get transaction-level reporting you can share with them. Platforms like Transformity, EverCommerce, and DaySmart are already starting to extend IC Plus pricing to their users. And there's more. We're working to let you pass through any payments fees, from dispute fees to ACH wire fees, exactly as is, or with markups. But you all know revenue opportunities extend far beyond payments, such as offering financing or faster payouts or issuing cards. And today, we have a number of exciting updates to share here. Now, you might be surprised to know that for many platforms, lending is their #1 revenue-generating product. You heard it right, even bigger than payments. But it's insanely difficult to launch and manage a lending program on your own. You'd have to own the underwriting, the loan servicing, and support, and you'd have to manage the risk on a net new financial product. And that's why Stripe Capital is here. We're going to show you just how easy we've made it to launch your own program. Roshan.
So back in the Stripe dashboard, I can choose to embed the Capital experience into my product, or let Stripe handle everything for me, including co-branded emails and a white-labeled borrow experience. So I'm going to walk through this. Nitika told me backstage I only have 2 minutes, so we'll see if I can keep it under that. But I'll go ahead and click Get Started here. It looks like some information about how to set up Capital. I like no-code options, so we'll go with that. Click Continue here. Looks like I can see what the emails that my customers will receive about their offers look like, so that's great. I'll hit Continue on that. And I can also see how the offer selection looks like for my customers. That also looks good to me. No additional marketing plan, that works. And let's see here. OK, some information about reporting transaction details to users. That's helpful for me to know. All right, looks like I need to sign here. And I have read these terms, but you should too if you're going to sign this. We'll go ahead and click Sign. And let's see here. That should just work. Great, I can hit Start Sending Offers. And then once I click Send, offers will be delivered to my users automatically. How's that? Under 2 minutes?
That was great. And folks, this is real. This is, as I said, the #1 revenue-generating product for platforms, and you can turn it on in less than 2 minutes today. In fact, the number of platforms using Capital is growing more than 80% year over year. We're also helping more of your users become eligible for financing. You can now bring your own data to Stripe's underwriting. Now let's talk about Stripe Issuing, which is used by companies like Instacart, Shopify, and Affirm to issue and manage over 320 million cards worldwide. Now, over the years, many of you have asked us to support consumer cards. Earlier this year, we announced that you can now build a fully managed consumer credit program on Stripe. For example, Fold, a financial services company is using Stripe issuing to build a credit card that lets buyers earn Bitcoin rewards. So that's a whirlwind tour of what's new for platforms on Stripe. New AI-powered insights and analytics for platforms, better tools for all your risk and compliance needs, powerful and flexible primitives to monetize payments, and additional revenue opportunities through capital and issuing. Now, if you're at Stripe Tour, you're probably a pretty entrepreneurial, optimistic person, right? I see some nods. But even for the most positive of us, there are some things we just hate. There is no other word for it. We hate delays in payouts. We hate unnecessary FX. And we particularly hate international wires. This is why, for years, we've heard from many of you that you want to do even more with your money on Stripe. You want managing money to feel like using good software. It should be fast. Money should move at the speed of bits. It should be affordable, if not downright cheap, especially converting between currencies. It should be permissionless, available to any legit business, and it should be programmable. You should be able to edit it with code. But this is not how the financial system works today. To change that, we're adding money management, a new dimension of our product suite. Now, this is a major upgrade in what Stripe can do for you. I'm going to show you 3 things that become super simple when you're managing your money on Stripe instead of using a patchwork of different applications. So first you see this financial account is local everywhere. All Stripe balances will be multi-currency by default. As you can see here, I'm holding dollars, pounds, euros, and even stablecoins. Your money will get stored in the currency in which it's received, which means you will be charged conversion fees only if you convert currencies. No more unnecessary FX fees. And switching between currencies is also cheap and easy. So let me quickly do a transfer for you. So I can hit this button over here. And let's say my business needs more euros. I can select euros as the to balance. Let's say I want to convert some pounds. I can enter an amount. It shows me the conversion fees right here. I can hit review. I can hit convert. And that's it. We've also built everything on top of local rails, which means you can now operate like a local business without needing a local presence. So UK businesses can see the account details that you see here to send you money just like they send money to any other local business. And the same will be true for European businesses and so on. No more painful international wires. Stripe financial accounts are local, globally. Now, the next big thing that's different for you now is how you send money. With Stripe, you can now pay a vendor with just their email address, no need to collect and store their bank details. And so let me show you how that works. I can hit send here. Let me add a new recipient. Type their email address. I can select pay by email. I can hit continue. I can add a note. I can, you never know, it's a real demo. And this, on the right-hand side, you can see my recipient's experience. They're going to get an email like this one, and if they have their bank details stored with link, they will be able to receive the money in just a few clicks. I can hit continue. I can enter an amount. And then I hit submit. That's it. The payout is sent. No more collecting and typing sensitive bank account information, just send an email. Now, this final one is my favorite. I think it's super cool, creating cards. Today, if you try to create a card for any of your employees, it's a hassle. Sometimes you need to submit a request in person, wait for lengthy approvals with back and forth, and often it's complicated to set spend controls once you actually have the card. Well, with Stripe, you can now create a local card tied to your balance directly on the same page. So I can hit this Create Card button here. Let me add a new card holder, and I'm going to try to copy over my details. You need to add the name, the billing address, and the zip code, the email, phone number. None of this is real. So no, I can give it a nickname. I can select virtual or physical right here, so let me select virtual. I can activate the card right from the same screen. I hit create card, and there you go. Now you can start using this card anywhere MasterCard is accepted. All right, so that's a preview of just 3 of the many powerful new capabilities we're building. Many of these features are already live, so check them out. And if you're a platform either here or in the UK, you will be able to offer these features to your users by the end of this year. Now, there's one last product area we're going to cover that will help you accelerate your business, and that's crypto. Here's Will to tell you more.
Thanks, Deepika. OK, so before we dive in, I thought it would be helpful to take just a little step back and talk about why we're so excited about crypto and about stablecoins in particular. So blockchains are a powerful and versatile technology, powering everything from decentralized applications to, let's get real about it, abject speculation in meme coins. But it turns out that the killer application in crypto is money. We sort of come full circle here. And all the things that Nitika just talked about, that money should be fast, affordable, permissionless, programmable, these are properties that are inherent to crypto. And to that list, I'll add borderless. Because you all know all too well that as soon as you cross a border with money, everything breaks. Speed crawls, fees spike, complexity explodes, and global expansion becomes a capital-intensive, one country at a time slog. Well, crypto changes this. Every fundamental thing you need to be able to do with money, crypto makes possible on a global scale. Businesses like Vercel, OpenAI, and Techion are accepting payments globally on rails that are less than half the cost of fiat rails and settle in seconds, not days. And Kevin shared earlier an upgrade that we're making to stablecoin payments. Until now, there's been no good way to keep a credential on file for recurring stablecoin payments. But as of today, we've deployed smart contracts across several chains to enable exactly this, unlocking stablecoin subscription payments. Because stablecoins enable you to store and send balances globally, we can roll out our entire money management suite, everything that Nitika just showed you around the world all at once. Businesses like Remitly, Deal, and Remote are storing and sending money wherever their customers need it, accelerating entire product categories like payroll, creator platforms, and remittances with global reach. Global fintechs like Ramp are expanding their card programs to dozens of additional countries via crypto-backed cards. And one emerging use case we're seeing is optimizing internal treasury flows. Companies like SpaceX are moving money around the world inside their businesses using Bridge, Stripe's advanced stablecoin orchestration platform, to repatriate global revenue back to the US. So these are some of the fastest moving companies in the world, and until now, they've been forced to waste time on the arcana of wire transfers, FX fees, settlement delays. But with stablecoins, money moves at their speed. So we hear frequently from you, what should our stablecoin strategy be? Realistically, not every company needs stablecoins today. But if you're a global company, or you aspire to be, you can and probably should use them to streamline your operations and catalyze your expansion. Now, I showed at the top that we're building Stripe's products to be seamlessly interoperable with each other, but also modular. And so you've seen that you can use Stripe's checkout services, but route the payments elsewhere. Or you can underwrite Stripe Capital loans with third-party data, and so on. Well, this commitment to openness is particularly important when it comes to crypto. So our crypto products are, of course, seamlessly interoperable, but you can also plug in whatever third-party services you want. So for example, Stripe has an on-ramp, but Privy, our wallet solution, has deep on-ramp partnerships with MoonPay and Coinbase, and will continue to invest enthusiastically in these. Privy works seamlessly with Bridge, but Bridge in turn works seamlessly with wallet solutions like Fireblocks. Stripe and Paradigm incubated Tempo, a new payments-focused blockchain, but Bridge and Privy work with many L1s and L2s and will continue to do so. Crypto's improved foundations for financial services are still nascent, and they require an interoperable, collaborative, and competitive market to maximize their potential. But perplexingly, that's not where the stablecoins market is headed right now. Today, just two stablecoins, USDT and USDC, constitute more than 85% of total stablecoin supply. And developers have been building on these two coins largely out of necessity, but the trade-off is potentially enormous. Imagine that you're a neobank building on stablecoins. You could end up sitting on an abundance of stablecoin dollar deposits. But it's extremely hard to earn yield on any of that. Today, the benefits flow overwhelmingly to the coin issuers. And then, when your users want to redeem those coins for cash, issuers today charge a burn fee. Imagine the bank charging you every time you want to withdraw your own money. So how do you fix this? Well, what if you launched your own stablecoin? This might sound daunting and exotic, and for good reason, because until today, it's involved managing your own reserves, striking partnerships with the largest financial institutions in the world for custody management and ongoing reserve optimization, building airtight financial infrastructure to securely mint and burn coins, getting a lot of licenses, being regularly audited, and a whole lot more. And who's to say that even if you do all that, will you ever reach real liquidity? What's your strategy to make your coin widely available and widely held? Well, today, we're changing this. Stripe and Bridge are launching Open Issuance, a new platform that enables any business to issue their own stablecoin. You can create, issue, and manage your own stablecoin directly from the Bridge API. You can mint and burn freely. You can customize reserves with exacting precision, choosing how much to keep in treasuries and cash, even in on-chain assets. You can even choose your preferred custodians from partners like BlackRock and Fidelity. And most importantly, you keep your yield. Open issuance is priced at 50 basis points of total outstanding value, and you keep everything else. The whole point is that your stablecoin should benefit your platform and your customers. So we're thrilled that Open Issuance is already supporting coins for some of the biggest ecosystems in crypto, including MetaMask and Hyperliquid. And today, we're excited to announce that the world's most popular crypto wallet, Phantom, is launching Cash, the first coin fully built on Open Issuance. So to share more about how it works, please welcome Phantom co-founder and CEO, Brandon Millman. So welcome, Brandon, and congrats on the launch. We're incredibly excited to be partnering with you. Before we get to Cash, I just have to say, everyone, including myself, is sort of obsessed with Phantom. What are you guys getting so right, and why is everyone so excited?
Well, yeah, thanks, Will. Appreciate the opportunity to be here, and yeah, very excited to talk about all the work that we've been doing together for the past couple months. So at Phantom, our mission is to accelerate the adoption of crypto by making it safe and easy to use. And that means we spend a lot of time investing in things like user experience, design, and just solving usability problems of crypto more broadly. And that's why users love Phantom. They find it fun to use, easy to use, but most importantly, also safe to use. And I think a combination of all of those three are going to be required to actually bring crypto into the mainstream.
Yeah. And for everyone here, if you are not yet crypto initiated and into it, downloading Phantom is the best way to become so. So please download it. It's just an incredible application. So you guys think so much about user experience. Why do you need your own stablecoin?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like everyone in this room, we're super excited about stablecoins and the promise of bringing more real-world utility to crypto, right? However, stablecoins are still way too hard to use and access for the normal everyday consumer, and so that's why we set off to make the best stablecoin consumer experience on the market. But when we started off, and we did that, we found that none of the stablecoins on the market really allowed us to build the UX that we wanted. So for example, with USDC, you have things like great liquidity, but you don't really have the customizability or control that we need as developers. So with open issuance, we were finally able to make all the design decisions that we needed in order to build the UX that we wanted. So for examples, we were able to build Solana first, which means that means cash is fast, it's cheap, it's scalable, perfect for everyday use cases and a mainstream audience. And it's also developer first, meaning anyone building with cash will have the freedom to utilize the yield however they see fit.
And so then very tangibly, like what does a better consumer experience for stablecoins look like, just in the app?
Well, if anyone in the audience has actually tried to onboard into crypto before, they know it's an extremely painful experience, right? That's why it was super important for us to optimize that and make sure a user could just bring a debit card or Apple Pay or even a bank account to get cash.
And you also mentioned earlier that part of your mission is to make crypto feel safe, so I imagine that's part of it as well.
Totally, that's exactly right. Although what you're seeing looks very simple, behind the scenes is actually a very complex process with a lot of compliance steps. And that's why we've loved working with Stripe. I mean, you guys are the experts in money movement and really helped us simplify, make the UX as simple as possible.
And in fact, we're actually going to be bringing cash to every Stripe merchant via checkout. And I think we can actually take a look at what that looks like right here.
This is actually amazing. This is a huge part of making cash more useful for the everyday user that we're talking about. And there's all this potential with stablecoins today, but until now, it's been really hard to actually use them and spend them. And this is taking one enormous step towards making that future a reality.
Well, not that you guys need it, because you've got hundreds of millions of users already, but please go download Phantom if you haven't already. It's an incredible application. We're so excited to be partnering with you, and congrats on the launch, Brandon.
Thank you. Thanks.
Now, I said earlier that the single most challenging thing about issuing a stablecoin is building liquidity. So how is open issuance actually solving that? Well, simply put, interoperability. From a technical standpoint, every open issuance coin will natively interoperate with all the others. So if you're creating a coin, you can choose to share in the joint liquidity of all coins right out of the gate. So open issuance ships with built-in liquidity. Now, you might be asking yourself, okay, but which businesses, in fact, should issue their own stablecoins? Well, as a rule of thumb, if you hold funds on behalf of your customers, including things like virtual currencies and points, issuing a stablecoin would probably improve your economics and user experience. But even if you don't, you should take note of what's happening here. We hear from many of you that the reason you come to Stripe events is to learn more about the future of commerce. Entrepreneurs building on crypto and stablecoins are pioneering a new future of money itself. Practices die hard in financial services. Your bank account has an ABA code because tellers in the 1920s, 100 years ago, needed to know what pigeonhole to drop checks into. Swift message codes for interbank transfers are so short and absent of context because they were optimized for telex machines in the 1970s that charged per character. As you heard today, new paradigms of commerce and finance are coming, and we're building with urgency and focus to make these changes beneficial for all of you. New infrastructure to enable agentic commerce on platforms like ChatGPT. Foundation models to protect you from fraud, including acute vectors like free trial abuse. Tools to monetize AI-powered products and help software platforms stand up new lines of business like lending. Our brand new money management suite, all the ways that stablecoins can unlock global expansion, and of course, a platform to issue your own stablecoin. Thank you all so much for joining us here at Stripe Tour. I hope you leave with some specific ideas for how you can make good use of Stripe's programmable financial services. We're at the cusp of a generational shift in business and technology, and the next decade of global economic growth will be shaped disproportionately by what each of you does and what we can do together. Thank you so much.